We have an almost empty flight tonight, so you feel free to fold the armrests up into the seat backs and stretch out. You stretch out, zigzag, knees bent, waist bent, elbows bent across 3 or 4 seats. I set my watch 2 hours earlier or 3 hours later, Pacific, Mountain, Central, or Eastern Time. Lose an hour, gain an hour. This is your life, and it's ending 1 minute at a time. You wake up at Cleveland Hopkins. You wake up at SeaTac again. You're a projectionist, and you're tired and angry, but mostly you're bored. So you start by taking a single frame of pornography, collected by some other projectionist that you find stashed away in the booth, and you splice this frame of a lunging red penis or a yawning wet vagina close-up into another feature movie. This is one of those pet adventures, when the dog and cat are left behind by a traveling family and must find their way home. And reel 3, just after the dog and cat, who have human voices and talk to each other, have eaten out of a garbage can, there's a flash of an erection. Tyler does this. A single frame in a movie is on the screen for 1/60th of a second. Divide a second into 60 equal parts. That's how long the erection is. Towering 4 stories tall over the popcorn auditorium, slippery red and terrible, and no one sees it. You wake up at Logan again. This is a terrible way to travel. I go to meetings my boss doesn't want to attend. I take notes. I'll get back to you. Wherever I'm going, I'll be there to apply the formula. I'll keep the secret intact. It's simple arithmetic. It's a story problem. If a new car built by my company leaves Chicago traveling west at 60 miles per hour, and the rear differential locks up, and the car crashes and burns with everyone trapped inside, does my company initiate a recall? You take the population of vehicles in the field, A, and multiply it by the probable rate of failure, B. Then multiply the result by the average cost of an out-of-court settlement, C. A times B times C equals X. This is what it will cost if we don't initiate a recall. If X is greater than the cost of a recall, we recall the cars and no one gets hurt. If X is less than the cost of a recall, then we don't recall. Everywhere I go, there's the burned-up, wadded-up shell of a car waiting for me. I know where all the skeletons are. Consider this my job security. Hotel time, restaurant food, everywhere I go. I make tiny friendships with the people sitting beside me from Logan to Chrissy to Willow Run. What I am is a recall campaign coordinator, I tell the single-serving friend sitting next to me. But I'm working toward a career as a dishwasher. You wake up at O'Hare again. Tyler spliced a penis into everything after that. Usually close-ups of a Grand Canyon vagina with an echo, 4 stories tall, and twitching with blood pressure as Cinderella danced with her Prince Charming, and people watched. Nobody complained. People ate and drank, but the evening wasn't the same. People feel sick or start to cry and don't know why. Only a hummingbird could have cut Tyler at work. You wake up at JFK. I melt and swell at the moment of landing, when one wheel thuds on the runway, but the plane leans to one side and hangs in the decision to right itself or roll. For this moment, nothing matters. Look up into the stars and you're gone. Not your luggage. Nothing matters. Not your bad breath. The windows are dark outside and the turbine engines roar backward. The cabin hangs at the wrong angle under the roar of the turbines, and you will never have to file another expense account claim. Receipt required for items over $25. You will never have to get another haircut. A thud, and the second wheel hits the tarmac. The staccato of 100 seatbelt buckles snapping open, and the single-use friend you almost died sitting next to says, "I hope you make your connection." Yeah, me too. And this is how long your moment lasted. And life goes on. And somehow, by accident, Tyler and I met. It was time for a vacation. You wake up at LAX. Again. How I met Tyler was I went to a nude beach. This was the very end of summer, and I was asleep. Tyler was naked and sweating, gritty with sand, his hair wet and stringy, hanging in his face. Tyler had been around a long time before we met. Tyler was pulling driftwood logs out of the surf and dragging them up the beach. In the wet sand, he'd already planted a half circle of logs so they stood a few inches apart and as tall as his eyes. There were 4 logs, and when I woke up, I watched Tyler pull a 5th log up the beach. Tyler dug a hole under one end of the log, then lifted the other end until the log slid into the hole and stood there at a slight angle. You wake up at the beach. We were the only people on the beach. With a stick, Tyler drew a straight line in the sand several feet away. Tyler went back to straighten the log by stamping sand around its base. I was the only person watching this. Tyler called over. "Do you know what time it is?" I always wear a watch. "Do you know what time it is?" I asked where. "Right here," Tyler said. "Right now." It was 4:06 p.m. After a while, Tyler sat cross-legged in the shadow of the standing logs. Tyler sat for a few minutes, got up and took a swim, pulled on a t-shirt and a pair of sweatpants and started to leave. I had to ask. I had to know what Tyler was doing while I was asleep. If I could wake up in a different place at a different time, could I wake up as a different person? I asked if Tyler was an artist. Tyler shrugged and showed me how the 5 standing logs were wider at the base. Tyler showed me the line he'd drawn in the sand, and how he'd used the line to gauge the shadow cast by each log. Sometimes you wake up and you have to ask where you are. What Tyler had created was the shadow of a giant hand. Only now the fingers were Nosferatu long and the thumb was too short, but he said how at exactly 4:30 the hand was perfect. The giant shadow hand was perfect for 1 minute. And for 1 perfect minute, Tyler had sat in the palm of a perfection he'd created himself. You wake up and you're nowhere. 1 minute was enough. Tyler said a person had to work hard for it, but a minute of perfection was worth the effort. A moment was the most you could ever expect from perfection. You wake up, and that's enough. His name was Tyler Durden, and he was a movie projectionist with the union, and he was a banquet waiter at a hotel, downtown, and he gave me his phone number. And this is how we met. Chapter 4. All the usual brain parasites are here tonight. Above and Beyond always gets a big turnout. This is Peter, this is Aldo, this is Marcy. Hi. The introductions. Everybody, this is Marla Singer, and this is her first time with us. Hi, Marla. At Above and Beyond, we start with a catch-up rap. The group isn't called Parasitic Brain Parasites. You'll never hear anyone say parasite. Everybody is always getting better. Oh, this new medication. Everyone's always just turned the corner. Still, everywhere there's the squint of a 5-day headache. A woman wipes at involuntary tears. Everyone gets a name tag, and people you've met every Tuesday night for a year, they come at you. Handshake hand ready and their eyes on your name tag. I don't believe we've met. No one will ever say parasite. They'll say agent. They don't say cure, they'll say treatment. In catch-up rap, someone will say how the agent has spread into his spinal column, and now all of a sudden he'll have no control of his left hand. The agent, someone will say, has dried the lining of his brain, so now the brain pulls away from the inside of his skull, causing seizures. The last time I was here, the woman named Chloe announced the only good news she had. Chloe pushed herself to her feet against the wooden arms of her chair and said she no longer had any fear of death. Tonight, after the introductions and catch-up rap, a girl I don't know, with a name tag that says Glenda, says she's Chloe's sister and that at 2 a.m. last Tuesday, Chloe finally died. Oh, this should be so sweet. For 2 years, Chloe's been crying in my arms during hug time. And now she's dead. Dead in the ground. Dead in an urn, mausoleum, columbarium. Oh, the proof that one day you're thinking and hauling yourself around, and the next, you're cold fertilizer. Worm buffet. This is the amazing miracle of death, and it should be so sweet if it weren't for, oh, that one, Marla. Oh, and Marla's looking at me again, singled out among all the brain parasites. Liar. Faker. Marla's the faker. You're the faker. Everyone around, when they wince or twitch and fall down barking and the crotch of their jeans turns dark blue, well, it's all just a big act. Guided meditation all of a sudden won't take me anywhere tonight. Behind each of the 7 palace doors, the green door, the orange door, Marla. The blue door, Marla stands there, liar, in the guided meditation through the cave of my power animal. My power animal is Marla. Smoking her cigarette, Marla rolling her eyes. Liar. Black hair and pillowy French lips. Faker. Italian dark leather sofa lips. You can't escape. Chloe was the genuine article. Chloe was the way Joni Mitchell's skeleton will look if you made it smile, walk around a party being extra special nice to everyone. Picture Chloe's popular skeleton the size of an insect, running through the vaults and galleries of her innards at 2 a.m. Her pulse a siren overhead announcing, "Prepare for death in 10, in 9, in 8 seconds. Death will commence in 7, 6. At night, Chloe ran around the maze of her own collapsing veins and burst tubes spraying hot lymph. Nerve surfaces tripwires in the tissue. Abscesses swell in the tissue around her as hot white pearls. The overhead announcement, "Prepare to evacuate bowels in 10, in 9, 8, 7. Prepare to evacuate soul in 10, in 9, 8. Chloe splashing through the ankle-deep backup of her renal fluid from her failed kidneys. Death will commence in 5. 5, 4, 4. Around her, parasitic life spray paints her heart. 4, 3, 3, 2. Chloe climbs hand over hand up the curdled lining of her own throat. Death to commence in 3, in 2. Moonlight shines in through the open mouth. Prepare for the last breath now. Evacuate. Now. Soul clear of body. Now. Death commences. Now. Oh, this should be so sweet. The remembered warm jumble of Chloe still in my arms and Chloe dead somewhere. But no. I'm watched by Marla. In guided meditation, I open my arms to receive my inner child. And the child is Marla, smoking her cigarette. No white healing ball of light. Liar. No chakras. Picture your chakras opening as flowers, and at the center of each is a slow-motion explosion of sweet light. Liar. My chakras stay closed. When meditation ends, everyone is stretching and twisting their heads, and pulling each other to their feet in preparation. Therapeutic physical contact. For the hug, I cross in 3 steps to stand against Marla, who looks up into my face as I watch everyone else for the cue. Let's all, the cue comes, embrace someone near us. My arms clamp around Marla. Pick someone special to you tonight. Marla's cigarette hands are pinned to her waist. Tell this someone how you feel. Marla doesn't have testicular cancer. Marla doesn't have tuberculosis. She isn't dying. Okay, in that brainy brain food philosophy way, we're all dying. But Marla isn't dying the way Chloe was dying. The cue comes, share yourself. So, Marla, how do you like them apples? Share yourself completely. So, Marla, get out. Get out. Get out. Go ahead and cry if you have to. Marla stares up at me. Her eyes are brown. Her earlobes pucker around earring holes, no earrings. Her chapped lips are frosted with dead skin. Go ahead and cry. You're not dying either, Marla says. Around us, couples stand sobbing, propped against each other. You tell on me, Marla says, and I'll tell on you. Then we can split the week, I say. Marla, you can have bone disease, brain parasites and tuberculosis. I'll keep testicular cancer, blood parasites, and organic brain dementia. Marla says, what about ascending bowel cancers? The girl has done her homework. We'll split bowel cancer. She gets it the first and third Sunday of every month. No, Marla says. No, she wants it all. The cancers, the parasites. Marla's eyes narrow. She never dreamed she could feel so marvelous. She actually felt alive. Her skin was clearing up. All her life she never saw a dead person. There was no real sense of life because she had nothing to contrast it with. Oh, but now there was dying and death and loss and grief. Weeping and shuddering, terror and remorse. Now that she knows where we're all going, Marla feels every moment of her life. No, she wasn't leaving any group. Not and go back to the way life felt before, Marla says. I used to work in a funeral home to feel good about myself. Just the fact I was breathing. So what if I couldn't get a job in my field? Then go back to your funeral home, I say. Funerals are nothing compared to this, Marla says. Funerals are all abstract ceremony. Here you have a real experience of death. Couples around the two of us are drying their tears, sniffing, patting each other on the back and letting go. We can't both come, I tell her. Then don't come. I need this. Then go to funerals. Everyone else has broken apart and they're joining hands for the closing prayer. I let Marla go. How long have you been coming here? The closing prayer. 2 years. A man in the prayer circle takes my hand. A man takes Marla's hand. These prayers start and usually my breathing is blown. Oh, bless us. Oh, bless us in our anger and our fear. 2 years? Marla tilts her head to whisper. Oh, bless us and hold us. Anyone who might have noticed me in 2 years has either died or recovered and never came back. Help us and help us. Okay, Marla says. Okay, you can have testicular cancer. Big Bob the big cheese bread crying all over me. Thanks. Bring us to our destiny. Bring us peace. Don't mention it. This is how I met Marla. Chapter 5. The security task force guy explained everything to me. Baggage handlers can ignore a ticking suitcase. The security task force guy, he called baggage handlers throwers. Modern bombs don't tick. But a suitcase that vibrates, the baggage handlers, the throwers, have to call the police. How I came to live with Tyler is because most airlines have this policy about vibrating baggage. My flight back from Dulles, I had everything in that one bag. When you travel a lot, you learn to pack the same for every trip. 6 white shirts, 2 black trousers, the bare minimum you need to survive. Traveling alarm clock, cordless electric razor, toothbrush, 6 pair underwear, 6 pair black socks. It turns out my suitcase was vibrating on departure from Dulles, according to the security task force guy, so the police took it off the flight. Everything was in that bag. My contact lens stuff, 1 red tie with blue stripes, 1 blue tie with red stripes. These are regimental stripes, not club tie stripes. 1 solid red tie. A list of all these things used to hang on the inside of my bedroom door at home. Home was a condominium on the 15th floor of a high-rise, a sort of filing cabinet for widows and young professionals. The marketing brochure promised a foot of concrete floor, ceiling, and wall between me and any adjacent stereo or turned-up television. A foot of concrete and air conditioning. You couldn't open the window, so even with maple flooring and dimmer switches, all 1,700 airtight feet would smell like the last meal you cooked, or your last trip to the bathroom. Yeah, and there were butcher block countertops and low-voltage track lighting. Still, a foot of concrete is important when your next-door neighbor lets the battery on her hearing aid go and has to watch her game shows at full blast. Or when a volcanic blast of burning gas and debris that used to be your living room set and personal effects blows out your floor-to-ceiling windows and sails down flaming to leave just your condo, only yours, a gutted, charred concrete hole in the cliffside of the building. These things happen. Everything, including your set of hand-blown green glass dishes with the tiny bubbles and imperfections, little bits of sand, proof they were crafted by the honest, simple, hard-working indigenous aboriginal peoples of wherever. Well, these dishes all get blown out by the blast. Picture the floor-to-ceiling drapes blown out and flaming to shreds in the hot wind. 15 floors over the city, this stuff comes flaming and bashing and shattering down on everyone's car. Me, while I'm heading west, asleep at Mach .83 or 455 miles an hour, true airspeed, the FBI is bomb-squatting my suitcase on a vacated runway back at Dulles. 9 times out of 10, the security task force guy says the vibration is an electric razor. This was my cordless electric razor. The other time, it's a vibrating dildo. The security task force guy told me this. This was at my destination, without my suitcase, where I was about to cab at home and find my flannel sheets shredded on the ground. Imagine, the task force guy says, telling a passenger on arrival that a dildo kept her baggage on the East Coast. Sometimes it's even a man. It's airline policy not to imply ownership in the event of a dildo. Use the indefinite article. A dildo. Never your dildo. Never ever say the dildo accidentally turned itself on. A dildo activated itself and created an emergency situation that required evacuating your baggage. Rain was falling when I woke up from my connection in Stapleton. Rain was falling when I woke up on our final approach to home. An announcement told us, please take this opportunity to check around our seats for any personal belongings we might have left behind. Then the announcement said my name. Would I please meet with an airline representative waiting at the gate? I set my watch back 3 hours, and it was still after midnight. There was the airline representative at the gate. And there was the security task force guy to say, "Ha, your electric razor kept your checked baggage at Dulles." The task force guy called the baggage handlers throwers. Then he called them rampers. To prove things could be worse, the guy told me at least it wasn't a dildo. Then, maybe because I'm a guy and he's a guy and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe to make me laugh, the guy said industry slang for flight attendant was space waitress or air mattress. It looked like the guy was wearing a pilot's uniform. White shirt with little epaulets and a blue tie. My luggage had been cleared, he said, and would arrive the next day. The security guy asked my name and address and phone number. And then he asked me what was the difference between a condom and a cockpit. "You can only get one prick into a condom," he said. I cabbed home on my last $10. The local police had been asking a lot of questions, too. My electric razor, which wasn't a bomb, was still 3 time zones behind me. Something which was a bomb, a big bomb, had blasted my clever Narunda coffee tables in the shape of a lime green yin and an orange yang that fit together to make a circle. Well, they were splinters now. My Aparanda sofa group with the orange slipcovers designed by Erica Picari was trash now. And I wasn't the only slave to my nesting instinct. The people I know who used to sit in the bathroom with pornography, now they sit in the bathroom with their IKEA furniture catalog. We all have the same Johannesov armchair and the Strina green stripe pattern. Mine fell 15 stories, burning into a fountain. We all have the same Rislampa Har paper lamps made from wire and environmentally friendly unbleached paper. Mine are confetti. All that sitting in the bathroom. The Ala cutlery service. Stainless steel, dishwasher safe. The Vilt hall clock made of galvanized steel. Oh, I had to have that. The Clips shelving unit. Oh, yeah. Emlig hat boxes, yes. The street outside my high-rise was sparkling and scattered with all this. The Momola quilt cover set, designed by Tomas Harala and available in the following: orchid, fuchsia, cobalt, ebony, jet, eggshell, or heather. It took my whole life to buy this stuff. The easy care textured lacquer of my Collex occasional tables. My Steg nesting tables. You buy furniture. You tell yourself this is the last sofa I will ever need in my life. Buy the sofa. Then for a couple years you're satisfied that no matter what goes wrong, at least you've got your sofa issue handled. Then the right set of dishes. Then the perfect bed, the drapes, the rug. Then you're trapped in your lovely nest and the things you used to own. Now they own you. Until I got home from the airport. The doorman steps out of the shadows to say there's been an accident. The police, they were here and asked a lot of questions. The police think maybe it was the gas. Maybe the pilot light on the stove went out or a burner was left on, leaking gas, and the gas rose to the ceiling, and the gas filled the condo from ceiling to floor in every room. The condo was 1,700 square feet with high ceilings, and for days and days, the gas must have leaked until every room was full. When the rooms were filled to the floor, the compressor at the base of the refrigerator clicked on. Detonation. The floor-to-ceiling windows and their aluminum frames went out, and the sofas and the lamps and dishes and sheets set in flames, the high school annuals and the diplomas and telephone. Everything blasting out from the 15th floor in a sort of solar flare. Oh, not my refrigerator. I'd collected shelves full of different mustards. Some stone ground, some English pub style. There were 14 different flavors of fat-free salad dressing and 7 kinds of capers. I know. A house full of condiments and no real food. The doorman blew his nose, and something went into his handkerchief with a good slap of a pitch into a catcher's mitt. You could go up to the 15th floor, the doorman said, but nobody could go into the unit. Police orders. The police had been asking, did I have an old girlfriend who'd want to do this, or did I make an enemy of somebody who had access to dynamite? It wasn't worth going up, the doorman said. All that's left is the concrete shell. The police hadn't ruled out arson. No one had smelled gas. The doorman raised an eyebrow. This guy spent his time flirting with the day maids and nurses who worked in the big units on the top floor, and waited in the lobby chairs for their rides after work. 3 years I lived here, and the doorman still sat reading his Ellery Queen magazine every night, while I shifted packages and bags to unlock the front door and let myself in. The doorman raises an eyebrow and says how some people will go on a long trip and leave a candle, a long, long candle burning in a big puddle of gasoline. People with financial difficulties do this stuff. People who want out from under. I asked to use the lobby phone. A lot of young people try to impress the world and buy too many things, the doorman said. I called Tyler. The phone rang in Tyler's rented house on Paper Street. Oh, Tyler, please deliver me. And the phone rang. The doorman leaned into my shoulder and said, A lot of young people don't know what they really want. Oh, Tyler, please rescue me. And the phone rang. Young people, they think they want the whole world. Deliver me from Swedish furniture. Deliver me from clever art. And the phone rang and Tyler answered. If you don't know what you want, the doorman said, you end up with a lot you don't. May I never be complete. May I never be content. May I never be perfect. Deliver me, Tyler, from being perfect and complete. Tyler and I agreed to meet at a bar. The doorman asked for a number where the police could reach me. It was still raining. My Audi was still parked in the lot, but a Da Capo halogen torchiere was speared through the windshield. Tyler and I, we met and drank a lot of beer, and Tyler said yes, I could move in with him, but I would have to do him a favor. The next day my suitcase would arrive with the bare minimum. 6 shirts, 6 pair of underwear. There, drunk in a bar where no one was watching and no one would care, I asked Tyler what he wanted me to do. Tyler said, I want you to hit me as hard as you can.